The Elm Street franchise, ranked and reviewed. Hello and welcome to another video. Now, I've previously done this with like the Halloweens, and I really pissed off Friday the 13th fans last year, so it's time to really annoy Nightmare on Elm Street fans, because that's what I do, baby. um, there are 8 films in the original Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, not counting the remake, which I won't be reviewing or ranking because I've never seen it, because screw remakes. But there are 8 films, 6 in the kind of the original run, followed by Wes Craven's New Nightmare in '94, and then Freddy vs. Jason in 2003. And I will be ranking all of these films from my least favourite to my favourite. And some of it might annoy people, I'm guessing. 8th place. I don't think this one will annoy anybody. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Made in 1990, the 6th film in the series that was supposedly killing Freddy off forever because of diminishing box office returns, basically. Yeah, it's not very good. All kind of real scariness has gone from the character and the series at this point, and while I don't mind a bit of campy fun, yeah, this is just, it's not very funny either, and it's kind of infantile. Yeah, the majority of fans put this as the worst, if not one of the worst, if not the worst of the series, and I can't really argue with that. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. 7th place. Now, this one might annoy some people. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Now, ironically enough, my putting this as the black sheep of the franchise would not have been particularly controversial about 20 years ago or 30 years ago. In fact, most people hated Freddy's Dead. God me. Freddy's Revenge, for crying out loud. Most people hated this movie back in the day. It was regarded as the black sheep of the franchise for a long time. Bizarrely, I've seen so many people in the last decade, especially on YouTube, now saying it's one of their favourite, if not their favourite. I've even seen some people saying it's better than the original. To which I can only say, are you out of your freaking mind? I'm sorry, I don't like Freddy's Revenge. I watched all the kind of the original 6 run in the early 90s. With one glaring exception. And I kind of enjoyed them all at the time, but yeah, I very quickly went off Freddy's Revenge. I don't like it. I've tried watching it several times in the last few years because of all these people who orgasm over it. I still think it's a really bad movie. And what the hell is with all that gay subtext that's rapidly becoming text? It's just weird. What? What's this got to do with the Nightmare on Elm Street? It's very odd. I'm sorry, I just don't like this movie. It's not good, in my opinion. 6th place. A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Kind of pains me to put this low, because and then that's mainly because I really like Lisa Wilcox as Alice. I kind of feel this should have been better than it was. It has its moments. I don't think it's as awful as the other two. Below it, it has some interesting ideas and creepy moments. And again, it's got a lead I really like. This is a problem. Why didn't we get Alice back in Freddy's Dead? That would have made the 6th film better already. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. This is okay-ish. It's very flawed and rather confused at times. But again, it's got some weird, creepy moments. And again, I like the lead actress, so 6th place. Number 5. Now, this is the one I think is going to piss a lot of people off. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. This is the one that gets, outside of the original, the most hype from fans. And again, there are many fans who think it's the best one of the lot. I just think it's sort of okay-ish. I don't really get what the hype is for this. Maybe it's one of those you had to watch as a kid or something. Again, I saw it in my late teens and I thought it was okay along with the rest of them. And I still think it's sort of okay. It's nice to have Heather Langenkamp back as Nancy from the original, as well as John Saxon back as her dad. Always nice to see John Saxon. And Patricia Arquette is good as well. I don't know. I've never been that impressed with this. It's okay. It has some nice moments, but the adulation it gets, I don't really get. I mean, no, again, don't get me wrong. I don't think this is crap like Freddy's Revenge. But I still don't see what other people seem to see in it, to be honest. It's okay, I guess. Fourth place. A Nightmare on Elm Street 4. What's this one called? The Dream Warrior? That can't be right. Oh my god, let me pause the video while I find out what Elm Street 4... The Dream Master, that's what it's called. My brain farted for a moment. I know some people would object to me putting this over 3. I always liked it more. Again, that's partly because I really like Lisa Wilcox as Alice. This is her first movie where she kind of slowly but surely kind of takes the lead. She's just kind of one of the support characters at first, and then as people start dropping like flies, she's the one that takes the lead and goes and takes the fight to Freddy. And I really like her. I like her character. I like the actress. And it just kind of makes this movie more enjoyable. I know some people don't like it as much as 3, and they don't like the fact that Kristen, who was the heroine of 3, gets killed off early. I kind of agree with that. But I think that's mitigated by the fact that it was not the original actress anyway. So, I mean, if it was still Patricia Arquette, I would agree that's crap. But it's not even the original actress anyway, so I don't really have a problem with them. Because I hate recasts, so I don't really have a problem with them killing her off and bringing somebody else in. In this case, I mean, I guess that makes me a hypocrite because I fucking hate Halloween 6 because of what they do to Jamie. But there you go. Shoot me, I am complicated. But yeah, I like Elm Street 4. It's a lot of fun. I really like Alice. And I guess that makes me prefer it to 3. Though I have to say, I have not seen a lot of these for quite a long time. With you, yeah. 3. Again, this will be a controversial one. Freddy vs. Jason. I really like Freddy vs. Jason. It is more of an Elm Street movie than a Friday the 13th one. Freddy is kind of the crux of the whole plot, and he gets more to do. And I kind of think that's fair enough in a way, because obviously Freddy is, played by an actual real actor. It's not just a lumbering guy in a mask. So you'd obviously give the real actor more to do in a movie like this, I guess. That's in my opinion, anyway. This is kind of on the tail end. This was in 2003, so it was kind of on the tail end of the post-Scream teen horror craze, which also gave us a kind of the freshened up version of Chucky. And this is kind of the version of that, bringing back Jason and Freddy for the then current kind of teen audience. It's on the tail end of that craze. Some horror fans don't like that period. I certainly do. I wish it had gone on longer, because I certainly prefer that late 90s, early 2000s teen horror craze to what followed in the 2000s. Found footage, torture porn, and crap remakes. Yeah, I think I preferred this. But that's just me. But I find this fun. Again, this is very redolent of the period, so if you're one of those weirdos who hates it, you probably won't like it. But I'm perfectly fine with it. It's very slick. It's a lot of fun. And the lead is that bitch from Dawson's Creek that got killed off in season 2. So, all good fun. Number 2. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Again, a controversial choice. I know there are some very strange fans who don't even like this because it's so different, because it's obviously not a part of the kind of the original continuity, but it's not a remake either. It's very much a pre-Scream kind of meta horror, of course, famously having the original Nightmare on Elm Street cast basically play themselves in a world where Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Krueger was a big thing in the 80s, etc., etc. Only something is very strange is happening, and it looks like Freddy is coming into the real world. Of course, it's not. Again, another reason why some fans don't like this. It's not actually Freddy, the character. It's some kind of demon that basically likes the Freddy persona and is using that to break into the real world. I saw this at the cinema. This was the only Nightmare on Elm Street film I saw at the cinema. I mean, I was way too young for at least the first 6. I was way too young for the first 6, really. Not sure what rating Freddy's Dead was, but I'm presuming it was an 18, so I was too young for it. I don't think Freddy vs. Jason went to my cinema. And I was, again, no interest whatsoever in the remake. So this was the only one I saw at the big screen, and maybe that's another reason why it kind of was so high, because I have to be honest, I've never quite recaptured the heights of that original viewing at the cinema since. Because at the cinema, this absolutely blew me away. I just loved the craziness of it, the originality of it, and just how interesting it was. And there are some great moments. It's probably not as confident in the meta stuff as, like, say, Scream was, but I still really like Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and it actually seems to be kind of underrated these days, which is kind of odd, because I think it's probably the scariest since the original. And that should leave no surprise as to what I'm putting in first place. The original Nightmare on Elm Street. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. Regular viewers of my channel will know that this was one of the 2 movies that scared the living shit out of me as a kid. Because I watched a lot of horror movies as a kid that I shouldn't have been watching, really. But 9 times out of 10, they didn't bother me in the slightest. You know, I was thoroughly desensitized by about 10. But there were 2 movies in the mid-80s that for some reason just really freaked me out. The other one was Fright Night, and then there was A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I have to be honest, I think A Nightmare on Elm Street actually has aged better and stands up more than Fright Night does. I think the original Elm Street is bona fide a horror classic, still weird, wonderful, scary, superbly made, a near perfect movie if it wasn't for that silly little bit at the end that they shoved in because they desperately wanted some sequel bait. But aside from that, I would put this up there with the likes of Halloween, Poltergeist, Black Christmas, as a kind of Raiders of the Lost Ark, as a kind of an example of just like a perfect movie, because it does what it does very, very well. Yeah, I love that on Elm Street. I don't know what else to say about it. Robert Englund's very scary as Freddy. That's his scariest, really. Heather Langenkamp's great, very pretty as well. I really like this movie. It's still a classic in my opinion, and I don't want to see the crappy remake because there's no way it's going to be as good as this. Anyway, that's about it, except to say, now where would I put Elm Street kind of as a franchise on the ranking scale? I have to be honest, Halloween's always been my favourite, and certainly the 80s sequel stuff, Halloween's well in front of the others for me. The weird thing is, I have to say, I'd probably put Friday the 13th above the Elm Street series, even though I don't think there's a single Friday the 13th movie that's as good as the original Nightmare on Elm Street. But as far as the sequels go, I kind of prefer the Friday the 13th. I think the sequels are generally more fun and rewatchable. That's my personal take on it anyway. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Talk to you again soon.